Hello, am I here? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, let me know in the chat box. My hair looks awful, but I guess that's what quarantine hair does to you. Oh, no. Sorry, I have two screens open here. Let me know if you can hear me. And we're going to share this to Twitter. We're going to share this to Facebook. Okay. All right. Oh, I already see one person here. Pyrite Studios. How are you, Pyrite Studios? Hello. Oh. Perhaps you are German. Okay. All right. So I'm going to wait and see just how many people end up coming by. I have some questions lined up, but as we're waiting, I guess, for people to trickle in, I did just want to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed. When I first created this channel back in 2016, I didn't expect that this many people, let alone 20,000 people, would want to watch me ramble rather incoherently about something that I thought was exciting, languages and linguistics. So yeah, I'm excited that we're here. I'm excited that we have 20,000 subscribers, but I'm also excited to see where we can continue to grow. Yeah, if you don't already, check me out on social media. I have a Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Is it in the description? No, because I don't plan ahead. Yeah, no, so it's not in the description, but you could probably find it. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat box here. We also have GAB Marcipan, who says, I'm learning Arabic, it's crazy hard. And then Blanchard Carter says, yep, I'm assuming you're responding to whether or not you can hear me. Okay. Oh, Pyrite Studios. No, I'm from the USA and can speak English, Nederlands, and Espanol. Okay, so that's where the hello came from. Okay, I guess I will start with the questions that people have asked me. Somebody asked me on, let me see if I can find it. Somebody asked me on Instagram. Maybe we'll start there. Her name is, I think it's Priya. I don't know. If I'm saying your name wrong, I'm like really sorry. Priya. Priya asks, are you wearing a hat because of how long your hair is now? Yes. In my Instagram story, I was wearing a hat because my quarantine hair is getting really long. I'm starting to get this really weird mullet thing in the back. I actually am going to be cutting my hair on Tuesday, but I wanted to wait until after this live stream and after I finished filming a video in case it looked awful, because then that way nobody would be able to see me. Thank you for your question, Priya. Next question. How much time do you spend learning languages per day? And this is from Salazar OG on Instagram. I actually looked at this question before the live stream started, and I thought about the right way. Sorry, I'm gonna keep adjusting my hair because it's like really irritating me. These hairs keep like tickling inside my ear, and it feels like there's like a bug or something in there. And also doesn't help that I live in a basement. I don't necessarily have a daily time limit or like a daily time goal for how much I spend on each language. And that's because my schedule can be pretty variable. Sometimes I'll study like 6 hours in a day and then not study for the next 6 or 7 days. So I very much study in bursts. I know it's kind of, it's like best practice in the language learning community to have a time schedule for how often you should study. So some people might say, you know, you need to study for an hour every single day. I think that's great in theory, but I'm not able to do that with the way my schedule is. And frankly, if I do find an extra hour or two every day, sometimes I don't always want to use that for language learning. Like I have a life. I have a job. I sometimes work and then make dinner and then I have a couple hours, and I don't necessarily want to learn languages during that time. And I used to feel bad about it. I used to think I was like a terrible language learner or whatever, but I've kind of become okay with it, because I think everybody learns differently, and I think in the language learning community we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be these like amazing language learners, especially when you publicize all of your language learning on social media. Yeah, so I guess that answers your question. Okay, I'm going to jump to the thank you, Salazar OG, for that question. Sorry, I'm just checking on my phone. Yes, that's who it was. Thank you for that question. I'm going to jump to the live chat for a second. Pyrite Studio says they speak A1 Dutch. That's pretty cool. I also would like to think that I speak A1 Dutch, even though technically I've never really studied Dutch. I just think my knowledge of Afrikaans helps me to have some sort of small basis in the language. Hello there, Michael. How have you been doing lately? I've been good, Blanchard. It's been a little bit of a weird year, I'm not gonna lie, and I think a lot of people can agree with that. I spent the first 3 months of the year traveling. I was expecting to travel right until the summer, and then the coronavirus hit and I had to come home. So I wasn't expecting to be home, and I am home, and that's been a little bit weird, but I've been doing well considering, and I'm really happy that I have my health. I'm really happy that my family has been healthy, that my friends have been healthy. And I guess that's all you can ask for at a time like this. So the short answer is I've been good. Long answer is that I guess, I have my phases. There are a couple days when I'm not feeling my best self, but I think that happens to everybody during this time. Pyrite Studio says they have B1 in Spanish. GAB Marzipan, yo, I have a question. Yo, let's hear your question. How many languages do you know? This is kind of one of those questions that I feel like I always have a different answer to, because the word no is like really ambiguous. So I would say that the only language I know super well, like to a native fluency level, obviously is English. I have a pretty high level in French. I would say I'm a French teacher, so I need to have a pretty high level. I would say it's C1, even though technically I never have gotten it tested to see if it's C1. I only did entrance examinations for being a teacher here where I live. I speak Afrikaans, I speak Italian, I speak German, and that kind of rounds out my top 5 languages. I can use all those languages to get by in most situations. People here know that I have been studying Russian, and I actually brought my Russian textbook in case nobody showed up for this live stream and I had to study instead of answer questions. So I've been studying Russian. I have a video coming out about that soon, about how my Russian progress has been going. Spoiler alert, it's not been going amazingly, but such is Russian, I guess. And then I have some knowledge of Danish. I studied I started dabbling in Danish as a way to help me de-stress when I was in teachers college, and then it kind of grew into a whole thing. It kind of became a language in and of itself. Blanchard Carter, are you married or have kids? No, I'm not married. No, I do not have kids. I don't really know if I want kids. I've been kind of reaching that stage where, like, I'm 28 now. This is probably too personal for a language learning YouTube channel, but I'm 28 now, and I guess I'm like looking forward to that and being like, if I want to have kids, I should do it now. But I don't have any immediate plans to have children, and I think it depends on the day whether or not I want them. Sometimes I want them, and then sometimes my dog acts like a big baby, and then I think to myself, no, I don't want children. Other than Finnish, what other languages have you found interest in? I feel like if you follow me on Twitter, all of my Twitter feed is just basically me saying I'm very interested in like XYZ new language. For my job, I've been writing a lot of articles to do with Chinese lately. And I've been really interested in Mandarin. I'm not gonna lie though, I'm kind of intimidated by the tones in Mandarin, as well as having to study all the characters. I studied Japanese for a little bit last spring actually, and I found the writing of Japanese to be very cumbersome and very time consuming, and that kind of like turned me off a little bit. So I imagine it would be the same for Chinese. I've also been interested in Arabic. I'm always interested in Spanish. And Finnish, I was always interested in, and then I did the week challenge that I did through Language Jam, and I found that Finnish is something I really want to tackle one day. But right now, you can all be my witness. My focus is Russian. I want to get Russian up to a B1 stage. I want to finish learning grammar so that way I can start to learn vocabulary and bring my Russian to sort of a maintaining stage where I'm just slowly growing vocabulary, not where I'm actively learning Russian grammar or doing like Russian like exercises. I just want to be able to use the language more fluidly, I guess. Oh, my voice is so soft. Should I put in my headphones? Where are my headphones? Is my voice louder if I bring the camera closer to my face? You know what? I'm going to go get my headphones. Stand by. I will be right back. Is that better? Is my voice louder? Can you hear me better? Hello? 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 Let me know. You can hear me better. You don't need headphones. You sounded fine. Okay. We're going to just keep the headphones in for now. Maybe turn up your volume, John Mint. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Lots of people are talking. Is it really possible to make a living only by being a polyglot? That question was from Fatima Onyate Padilla. I hope I said that right. Padilla, I'm sorry. The answer, I think, is yes and no. So you can make a living from the skills you learn from being a polyglot, but unfortunately for me, and I think for lots of other people in the polyglot community, you can't necessarily just learn languages and have people pay you to do it. That, unfortunately, I don't think is a real thing, even though it would be really cool. But obviously, you can use your languages to help you do lots of things. So you can do translating, you can do teaching, you can, if you're lucky, you can turn it into some sort of business. I know lots of people take one language that they speak or that they speak natively and they help other people learn that language, or they take the regimen that they used to learn a language and they kind of like monetize it. But yeah, unless you're doing that, I don't think you can make a living just off being a polyglot, unless, I don't know, unless you happen to be like a hyper polyglot and speak like hundreds of languages, in which case we should just pay you for being extra cool, I think. Why did you say you live in the basement? I thought you had a room in the house with your parents. So I did, and then I went traveling, and then I came back, and then I'm waiting to take possession of a house in the fall. So rather than moving back into my cramped little bedroom, we decided to make a basement apartment out of the basement. So I've been living here. And it's been pretty cool. I've lived on my own before, but I kind of wanted my own space. I mean, again, I'm almost 30 now. It's not cute to be having, like a single bedroom in your parents' house. And that's not to say that that's a bad thing. That's just a personal choice for me. I wanted to be able to have my own space. Pirate Studios, can you speak some Russian for us? Like, what do you know so far? Okay, let's try this. Привет, меня зовут Майкл, я из Канады. Меня 28 лет. Я могу говорить немного по-русски. И я думаю, что русская грамматика очень трудная. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. That's kind of like the phrases I'm really good at saying. I'm not sure I would be able to like hold a full conversation outside of that. Where do you live? I live in Canada. I'm in Ontario, kind of close to Toronto, in that area. Congratulations on obtaining 10,000 viewers. You are a lucky guy. Thank you. I found studying Mandarin to be easier than Japanese. Really? I found Japanese wasn't too bad, but I kind of ignored the writing of Japanese so that I could just focus on communicating. Because I figured if I was ever going to go to Japan, people would not test me on reading and writing. They would rather test me on, not test me, but I would have to do more speaking if I traveled to Japan rather than reading and writing. So I thought that I would focus on that instead. We have a super chat. Here, have some well-deserved monies. Thank you, Odd NJT, Odnj. I can't say that, but thank you. That was really sweet of you. How do I get that to go away? Okay. Listening to songs helps learning alphabets. I have seen some in Arabic and Japanese. Yeah, I actually used to know the alphabet in Arabic. I don't think, like the alphabet song in Arabic. I don't know if I could say it anymore, but I could at one point. GAB Marzipan, who is your favorite YouTuber? I'm not sure that I have necessarily a favorite YouTuber, but I have different YouTubers for different purposes. If you mean like a YouTuber that I watch as a way to like relax in my own native language, I don't know. I really like Grace Helbig. She's an American YouTuber / comedian. She creates some really funny content in English. For French, I like to watch Cyprien and Natu. They're two native French speakers. They create kind of like skit videos. German, I like to watch Deutsch mit Maria. She's a content creator who creates YouTube videos for intermediate level learners. For Italian, so many. Italian with Lucrezia, Italy Made Easy, Italiano Automatico, and then Russian. Lately, I've been getting into Russian with Max, I think is his name. Yeah, there's many. Maybe I should make a video about that one day. I'll make a video about what YouTubers I like to watch. You don't need headphones. You sounded fine. I hope I'm still sounding fine now. So let me know if that is still a thing. I'm always really paranoid that nobody can hear me. What did you study at university? Also, will we ever get to meet you in person? Right now, I don't think meeting me in person is possible, unfortunately, because of the coronavirus. But I wouldn't rule out like meetups in the future. I don't know. I really haven't explored that idea. I don't know how possible it would be considering everybody is all around the world. What did you study at university? I studied modern languages and linguistics. So I majored in I majored in French. I minored in Italian. I took some German. And then my other minor was general linguistics. So the study of how language works in the brain. I actually have a video coming up about my language learning bookshelf. And I look at some of the textbooks that I used in university that I still kept to do with linguistics because I enjoyed them. So you'll get, I guess, more of an insight into what I took in university through my bookshelf in my next video, potentially. I got here late. No problem, Danez, Horton Bailey, Donne. I don't know how to say your name. I'm so sorry. You may have already answered this. Do you usually build up grammar before learning lots of vocabulary? 2020 has been a year where my language learning regimen, my language learning ideas have sort of really changed. I used to say, learn all the grammar first and then focus on vocabulary. And then I met Russian and I tried learning all the grammar first and it was really difficult. And then I decided, okay, maybe let's only do input first. So only like read and listen to a lot of things, try and grow your vocabulary, and then you'll learn the grammar naturally. And then I found that I was learning lots of vocabulary, but I wasn't able to put all the pieces. I talk a lot with my hands, I'm sorry. I wasn't able to put all the pieces together. And then I was finding that my grammar was just awful. So now I'm trying to do both. I'm trying to learn grammar explicitly when I need to. Like right now, this textbook, which was given to me by Andy Roberts, if you follow him on Twitter. And I think he has a YouTube channel, I'm not sure. This textbook has a bunch of quizzes in it. So I was studying for an upcoming quiz. So I decided to make like really simple notes on the things that I learned in that unit. That way I could not bomb that part of the quiz. So I think it's a tandem. I don't necessarily think you need to build up your grammar like super high before you start learning vocabulary. I think you should learn them equally. I'm definitely a proponent of not exhausting yourself with grammar. If it's becoming exhausting, do something else, frankly. But I do think sometimes it's easier for something like cases, if I can just spend an hour and memorize case endings, super easy. I've gotten them out of the way and I don't have to keep wondering, okay, like how do I do this? How do I create this sentence? Thank you for that question. Blanchard Carter. Wow, you don't look 28. You look younger. Thank you. I'm not sure if I'm at the age now where looking younger is a good thing or a bad thing, but I'll take it as a compliment. You must have a low-stress life. Is learning all the languages stressful at all? I'm not sure I have a low-stress life. I actually think I'm a pretty anxious person. My friends and family will attest to that. But language learning is something I don't find stressful. I think it can become overwhelming sometimes, but I don't necessarily think it's a stressful thing because I enjoy doing it. Message retracted. I'm not sure what that was. Okay. What are A1, B1 language levels actually mean? That's a good question. I'm not sure what they actually mean. It's set forth by I think it's the Central Europe, no, it's the Central European Framework for Reference for Languages. And they give you kind of, at A1, you should be able to say this stuff. At A2, you say that stuff. At B1, you can say this stuff. B2, you're like a high intermediate. C1, you're using the language for professional purposes. And then C2, you are fluent, or you're as close to native as you're ever going to get. I think unless you take one of the special tests, I'm not sure that you are going to be able. I'm not sure that those levels really mean anything, or if there's any way to ever really know if you're at that level. I just use them because they're a quick way to reference where I generally think I am in language learning, because other people use the system. Hi, I'm from Sicily. Hi, I was in Sicily in, where was it? When was that? 2018. I visited, what city was it? It wasn't Palermo? Yes, I visited Palermo in 2018. I was there for a week with my family. It's really beautiful. Anyway, you have a really beautiful island that you live on. What is it like to have a father that speaks a dialect of a language you know? It's actually not. Oh, I lost your question. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. I always joke with my dad that I was upset that he never taught me how to speak the dialect that he speaks, because I think it was for me, I've always been interested in languages, so I thought that would have been a really easy way to learn a new language. When you're a child, your parents speaking it to you. But my dad was always embarrassed by not speaking, like, he calls it like proper Italian, which is a whole thing in linguistics. It's a whole thing in language learning. What is proper language? What is the standard? Anyway, it doesn't matter. He was embarrassed to teach me the dialect of Italian that he speaks, so he didn't. And now I speak to him in standard Italian, and he speaks to me in his dialect. and we're able to kind of communicate with each other. But yeah, it's been cool. It's given me a window into Italian that I never would have gotten before, because I don't think mainstream learners of Italian really, they might learn about the dialects, but they don't actually understand how these dialects relate to the standard Roman Tuscan Italian. Как дела? Собаки или кошки? Собаки. I have a dog. У меня собака. Ее зовут Coco. Она Dachshund. She's a Dachshund. She's like a little wiener, a little sausage dog, and her name is Coco. That's the dog that I have, and I prefer dogs over cats. Although I feel like personality-wise, I'm more of a cat. I can get a little cold and standoffish, so I definitely don't have the energy of a dog. Cameron X Mac, why did you start learning Afrikaans? I started learning Afrikaans because I had gone to South Africa and it was such an amazing place. That was my first real big international trip that I did after going to university. And I was just blown away by the culture, by the people, by the landscape. South Africa is a really beautiful place. And yeah, and I've just always wanted to have reasons to learn languages. So let's just say I have a really good reason to learn this one. What are you learning right now? I mentioned kind of earlier in the live stream, my main focus right now is Russian. I'm trying to bring my Russian up to the B1 or intermediate level by the end of spring, so by about the middle end of June. And then I'm going to do a new language focus. But I feel like I've been learning Russian off and on really since I started doing it on this YouTube channel in 2016. And I have not gotten any better. My Russian has not gotten any better at all. So I just want to push through. I don't want to get discouraged. I want to become good in Russian. Not like amazing, but like enough to carry myself and understand most of the stuff that I read or that I listen to. Do you know who Casey? Oh, sorry. Where do I start with learning French? I'm not sure. I would say I would give you the general advice that I would give anybody learning a language. Find out the way that works best for you, whether you think that's a language learning class, whether you think that's a textbook, whether you think that's an online application, and use it and vary your resources. Don't just pick one thing to learn French. Use multiple things. I would suggest maybe getting a textbook. I'm a fan of textbooks. Maybe getting an app. Duolingo is a good one. I really enjoy Link. And then consume a lot of content in that language. So watch a lot of French on Netflix or on YouTube or whatever. Listen to a lot of French music. All of that will help your language levels do better, get higher. Speaking of YouTubers, you have been an inspiration for me to keep learning languages. If I'm not super motivated, I just watch some of your videos. That's really nice. Thank you for saying that. It's kind of weird because I get inspiration from a lot of different other people, like other YouTubers in the language learning community, even some people on Twitter and on Instagram. So to know that I do that for other people as well is really nice, because sometimes I don't always feel super inspired or super motivated. So I love how this community can help lots of people be inspired to learn languages. Oh, why does that keep happening? That's annoying. Can I get rid of this? Okay. Hoe gaan dit met jou Afrikaans? My Afrikaans gaan goed. Ek was in Suid-Afrika laaste maand. Ek was op bezoek. Ek was op reis. En nou gebruik ek Afrikaans met my Afrikaanse vriende en ek lees Afrikaanse boeke. Nou lees ek Afrikaanse boeke wat se naam is Emma en die geheime gang. Dit is 'n spookstorie. En dit is vir kinders. Dus is dit op my vlak. So I was just saying my Afrikaans is going well. I was in South Africa. I was traveling there. Right now at home, I'm reading novels in Afrikaans. The novel I'm reading is called Emma and the Secret Passageway. And it's kind of like a, actually, it's almost like Hansel and Gretel. It's kind of like this, it's about this school where kids are being fattened up for some reason, and we don't know why. And yeah, I think they're either going to get eaten or they're all being used for some sort of science experiment. Sounds kind of a weird book, but honestly, it's been keeping my attention, so it's doing what it's supposed to do. Grammar is my favorite part of language learning. That's awesome. Grammar is, I have a love-hate relationship with grammar. Sorry, my hair is getting all poofy. I love grammar to the extent that I think it's interesting to study how it works from like a linguistics level, but I don't like memorizing grammar rules. That's the part I don't like. Memorizing is just not the way for me. Out of all the languages you have learned, which is the most confusing grammar rules? That's super easy. It's this bad boy, Russian. I used to think it was German, but then I met Russian, and it's been so much more challenging. I was referring to your significant other when I said your person. Will you ever introduce us to your person? Maybe in a vlog. Love your videos, by the way. Thank you. I don't know if I will introduce you to my person. I try and keep my personal life personal. This is a lot of the use of the word person in this. So maybe one day, maybe, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna leave that open-ended, kind of like mysterious, except if you follow me on Instagram, it's not at all mysterious. Anyway, yeah, that's, I guess, the answer to that. Zayed Quadri, love and respect from India. My question, learning languages can help us to gain a great job opportunity in terms of business development or marketing, or will it help us maximize the business? I'm not sure I understand your question fully, but I definitely do think that language learning is an asset. I know for me, learning languages has allowed me to do many things. It's allowed me to work in the language learning community in terms of I work with different apps, with different language learning apps to write content. Like I work right now with Fluent U, which is a language learning app, and I help them write blog content for a number of their foreign language blogs. Obviously teaching, it's helped me become a teacher. Here in Ontario, it's hard to get a job as a teacher if you are only a mainstream English teacher, but if you know French and you can teach French, it's easier to get a job. So in that way, yeah, I think it allows you to gain different professional opportunities. But I also think if you're an entrepreneur and you speak different languages, that might give you like access to different markets. So maybe in that way, it's also good to learn languages for that kind of business development. I'm not really sure. GAB Marzipan, why did you ignore my question? I'm sorry, I'm trying to see all the questions. Ask it again in the bottom of the chat, and I'll see if I can find it and re-answer it. Antonio Linguista. I would love to go to Italy. My family is very Italian. We've always wanted to go there, but I'm hopefully going to Japan with my architecture class next spring. After Italian, I will try to learn Japanese. Yeah, I started learning Japanese because I thought I was going to go to the language or the polyglot conference that was in Fukuoka back in the fall, but I never ended up going, so I didn't really see the point of learning Japanese. But one day, maybe I'll take it up. Sorry, I'll take up Japanese, potentially. Hey, just joined live and wanted to, just joined live, and I don't know if you already answered this question. Can you please upload more if possible? I love watching your videos. I would love to upload more. It's a two-sided problem. The first problem is that I am busy. Maybe that's not an excuse. Everybody's busy. And then the other side of the problem is that I'm lazy. So when I have free time, I don't always want to script a video. I do have a video coming out this week, and I don't have it with me, so I don't know why I'm looking at the table below me as if you can see what I'm looking at. But I have some videos lined up. I want to get better at uploading videos. That's I guess the answer to that question. And hopefully I will, maybe, I don't know. Give me suggestions. I'm always looking for video suggestions. Also, what other language learners inspire you? So many. Just go onto my Twitter, my Instagram, and go through my following list. All of those people are super inspiring to me. If I can name some off the top of my head, Steve Kaufman, he runs Link. Jonathan from Seabolt Speaks, he's here on YouTube. Ophelia Vale, she's great. Mary Polyglot, I've done some videos with her. Azran the Language Nerd. Oh my God, I'm probably forgetting so many people. There's so many people inspiring on social media, on YouTube, who I think are really great for getting you in the mood to learn languages, motivating. We're really inspiring in the language learning community, I find. We're really good at supporting each other. So yeah. Die afgelopen maand. Yeah, that's how you say last month. Die rest van jou Afrikaans was perfect. Spook story is a baie mooi woord. Yeah, I agree. Spook story, which is just basically ghost story in Afrikaans, I believe, is kind of a really cool word. Afrikaans does have some really interesting ways of saying things. I think I made a video about this. I don't know if it was well received by all Afrikaans speakers, because I don't think they understood that I was joking or being sarcastic. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting things in Afrikaans. Dark Myths, what are your thoughts on Esperanto? I made a video about Esperanto and I said that I would never learn it. As of right now, I don't think I will, but that could always change. I don't know. I think we always change and grow, and I think that's one of the bad parts of having a YouTube channel. Like, I've been doing this for like 4 years now, is that I look at my old videos and not only are they kind of cringy, but I don't necessarily hold those opinions anymore. So I don't necessarily think I will learn Esperanto anytime soon, but I've kind of softened my my distaste, I guess, for Esperanto. Constructed languages I've always found to be a weird spot of language learning. That's just my personal opinion. I don't judge anybody who uses them or who learns them. I just don't know if I'll learn it necessarily. Sorry, I know that that's not the answer people are looking for sometimes, but I'm just not, I don't know. It doesn't interest me, which is, it's fine. You know, I really like to learn a language because I like to travel to the place where that language is spoken. And I know there are Esperanto conferences, I believe, but I can't go to like the country of Esperanto and speak it there. Whereas I can do that with Afrikaans, I can do that with Russian, I can do it with French. So yeah, maybe that's why. But I do think I've been kind of softening my stance on Esperanto, and maybe I will learn it one day. I've heard you can learn it pretty quickly in like 10 hours or something like that. Maybe that's wrong. Whoops. Fun fact, Russian has the most exceptions. Yeah. Yeah. Again, like what, let me see, like what instrumental case? Look at all those endings. Why do you need this many endings in one case? I don't understand. Anyway, you're right. Conselhos para aprender un idioma. I think that's asking about what advice I can give for learning a language. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. I definitely think you need to find what works for you, whether you want to focus on grammar, whether you want to focus on vocabulary. The back of my hair is crazy. I'm so sorry. I'll stop turning this way. Or whether you want to focus on input, so like lots of listening, lots of reading, or whether you want to focus on speaking. I think you need to find how you learn best and then find the resources that allow you to do that. But I also think you shouldn't limit yourself to like one specific way to learning a language. I definitely don't, and I don't think other people do. Be varied in your approach. Try lots of different ways, and if it doesn't work, you can always try something else. My question was, do you know who Casey Neistat is? No, I don't know who that person is. Sorry. I'm assuming they're a YouTuber, maybe. Which language should I start learning besides English? I think you should learn whatever language interests you. So whichever one you feel kind of like the pull for. What grammatical feature / rule has been the most confusing for you? I think cases are the most confusing. Not because I don't understand how grammatical cases work, but because I don't take the time to memorize all the endings. You know what I mean? So I find that difficult. More Russian equals more videos equals more for us equals happiness. I like this. This is a very logical, logical equation for happiness. John Mint, do you still dislike Esperanto? I hope you got the answer to that. I don't dislike it. I just don't want to learn it. I created a video a couple years ago where I was very adamantly against Esperanto. I don't feel that way anymore. But yeah, maybe I will learn it one day. I don't think so. Maybe not anytime soon. Anyway, I'm sorry. This isn't a great answer. What is your Instagram? My Instagram, my Twitter, and my Facebook are all the same thing. Let me check. Oh. It's just Polyglot Files. One word, no capital letters, Polyglot Files. Not the word the, just Polyglot Files. Why are you wearing a ring on your left hand? It implies you're married, perhaps. No, I'm not married. Not yet. If that answers your question. Do you study dialects and accents as well as, where is this? Oh, I lost it, sorry. Do you study dialects and accents as well when you have a good grasp of the standard? No, not really. I have studied the dialects of French to an extent because the French that is spoken here in Canada is different from the French I learned in university, which was standard French. But other than that, yeah, okay. I guess I know a little bit about Italian dialects because of my dad, but I don't make it a point to study dialects. I might like learn about them a little bit, but I mostly just learn the standard. Would you do a video on Irish or the wider Gaelic language? It's one of my native languages and I'd be more than willing to help. That would be cool. Send me a message on one of my social media accounts and that way it'll keep it at the top of my mind. And then when Gaelic comes up, I will reach out. I have likely considered Swedish in the future of a new language to learn. Yeah, Swedish is pretty cool. Hoe viel jij tieners jeugd wat tweetalig is en Engels met Afrikaans meng wanneer hulle praat? Denk jy ons veroorsaak dat die taal uitsterf? I actually don't understand what you're saying to the second part. So you're asking for the first part, do you, how do I feel over teenagers or young people that are bilingual and with English and Afrikaans, and they mix English and Afrikaans whenever they speak? I think it's actually pretty cool. It's good for me because when I don't know a word in Afrikaans, I can say it in English, and then it just feels like it's natural. Maybe I can trick some people into thinking that I am one of these tieners that speak Afrikaans natively. Denk jij ons veroorzaak dat die taal uitsterf? I think you're asking me about how threatened Afrikaans is as a language. That's a little bit of a political thing. It doesn't impact me, but I don't live in South Africa, so I don't know necessarily what threats Afrikaans gets. I've read a few articles, but really I learned the language because I love it. I don't really want to get into the whole political side of Afrikaans. I think it's a great language. I know there's a history there. I understand that. But I'm not sure that that's my place to offer an opinion on or to get involved in. Sorry, I don't think that really answers your question. Is there a language that you really don't like the sound of? Not really. I used to think, no, not really. I think that's the problem why I like so many languages, is that I think every language has such a unique sound, such an interesting way to go about like using the mouth to speak, that I kind of like the way that they all sound. Do you think Lovely Peach's language skills are impressive? I don't know who that is. So maybe send me a link and I can answer that one. Okay, I'm going to rapid fire go through these because I want to get to language or questions that are on Instagram and other things as well. Which languages is the toughest one? I think for English speakers, I've heard that languages like Russian, Arabic, Chinese, Japanese are the toughest. I think that if you speak a language in the Indo-European family, the Indo-European language family, languages that are not in that language family probably are tougher for you to learn because they don't follow the same structures or rules. Options are French, German, Russian, Arabic, Spanish, Portuguese. Okay, well, in that case, I'd say Arabic is the toughest out of all of those. What do you think about Celtic languages like Irish, Gaelic, or Welsh? I think they're interesting. I like the sound of them. They sound really cool. It reminds me of Lord of the Rings, if that makes any sense. The sound of Celtic languages sound like they belong on Lord of the Rings, which is why I find them particularly attractive. With resources, I tried the Pimsleur Italian course, didn't enjoy it. Switched to the book Teach Yourself Italian. I love the Teach Yourself series, just a personal choice. I might use other Teach Yourself resources. Right now, in which country are you? What is your native language and country? I'm in Canada. I'm home right now, and I am. My native language is English. Second part, do you think we are making it that Afrikaans will die out? I'm not sure. Again, that's the whole political point that I don't know a whole lot about. What would I use for books/resources for Russian? I recommend the Living Language Russian pack, I guess. It comes with like 3 of these workbooks. That's a page I haven't gotten to yet. There's one for beginners, intermediate, and advanced. I also am using the New Penguin Russian course. And then I think there's also a couple colloquial Russian. I think I have a colloquial Russian textbook on my iPad, and I use that from time to time. I'm actually teaching my 5-year-old son the way of the Afrikaner. That's awesome. I'd like to teach my kids one of the languages I speak. Have you thought about learning Faroese? Yes. And Icelandic. I really like Scandinavian languages, like North Germanic languages. I find them really cool. Greek is a tough one. I guess Afrikaans was the easier option in South Africa, as the other languages are non-Indo-European and tonal. Yes, and they have clicks. I'm not good at doing clicks. Swahili would be the easiest option should any interest for African languages arise. I actually was interested in Aramaic. I'm not sure how to say that language name, but when I was traveling, I had a stopover in Ethiopia, and I heard the language, and I saw Ethiopian writing, and it was really cool. So just add that to the list of the 101 languages that I want to learn before I die. SD 1999, hi, hello, how are you? What do you think of European languages that don't belong to the Indo-European language family? Finnish, Basque, Hungarian, Shuvash, haven't heard of that one, Gagaz, etc. Again, I think they're really cool. I think I have an affinity for Finnish. I want to learn Finnish one day. I really haven't looked much into like Hungarian or Basque, but I think it's really cool to have this little pocket of non-Indo-European languages within the Indo-European language landscape. I think it's really awesome. Can anyone learn language without a tutor with simply just watching YouTube videos? Yeah, I think so. I never had an Afrikaans tutor, and I only ever learned through textbooks, through speaking with friends who I knew spoke Afrikaans, and through watching Afrikaans content. So I think it's possible, but you need to have a certain level of motivation, and you need to make sure that you are making a study regimen that works for you. Amharic, hard like hard. Okay, Amharic. Yes, I would like to learn that one. Hi, bro. Why didn't you reply to me? I thought I did. Hi, SD1999. Hello. How are you? Do you think German sounds more aggressive than Dutch? Yes, I do. I also think, though, Dutch sounds more flowery than Afrikaans. I find Afrikaans is kind of a very flat language, and Dutch kind of does this when they speak, and I think it's really cool. What is your educational background, and what is your aim in life? Ooh, tough question. My aim in life is to just do things that make me happy, I guess. That's the only thing I can hope for. Professionally, I'd like to continue to work in the language learning industry. I'd like to teach. My background is that I have a bachelor's degree I have a Bachelor of Arts in Linguistics and a Bachelor's of Education. Okay, I'm going to pause for a second on the YouTube questions and just see if anybody else has asked me anything on Instagram. Whoops. It would be helpful if I could use my phone. Okay. Oh, I lied. That's not the post. Somebody on Instagram asked, have you ever been oh, actually, this is absolutely lovely. I follow her on Instagram. Have you ever been mocked or belittled in your language process or in your learning process for not being fluent overnight in any of your target languages? No, I don't think I've ever been mocked or belittled for not learning fast enough, but I do think people mock other people when they don't have the same level of language as they do. Like I know I've had a couple videos about French, and people have been like, "Oh, are you a French teacher? You suck." Blah blah blah. But that, yeah, that's kind of been the only thing. Marion Meton asks, "Does it happen to you that you're absolutely fed up with a language and you barely study it for a few days or weeks in a row, but you don't want to switch to a new target language because you feel you should concentrate on the current one and you're afraid you haven't yet reached the level where it's safe to let go?" Yes. To answer your question shortly, yes. Russian is my current fed up language. I get fed up with it quite often, and then I end up taking long breaks, and then I think, okay, maybe I shouldn't study Russian anymore. Let's try something else. And then I don't actually follow through with that. I just end up continuing to learn Russian. Yeah, I think that happens pretty often. I think motivation and inspiration, it kind of ebbs and flows. So people don't always have the motivation for the language long term that they have in the beginning. And I think that's natural. Okay, let's jump back onto YouTube here. So how many languages do you speak right now? So I always say that I can speak 5 to a conversational level: English, French, Italian, German, Afrikaans, and then I'm studying Russian and Danish, and I kind of can communicate in those at a beginner level. Mirko Bongiorno says, I've studied Dutch, and yes, modern Dutch speakers sound more flowery and American. Okay, yeah. I don't know if my level of Dutch is good enough to know that they would sound American, but maybe, yeah, maybe that's correct. Being Afrikaans, Dutch sounds funny, like one is a little intoxicated. No offense to Dutch speakers. I'm told Dutch think that some Afrikaans speakers. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard Afrikaans speakers say the same thing. Sorry, I've heard Dutch speakers say that Afrikaans is like baby Dutch, and then I've heard Dutch speakers say that Afrikaans is like drunk Dutch. Yeah, anyway. I might consider doing Romanian soon. That sounds cool. SD 1999, why don't you learn some Indo-Aryan languages? I studied Persian in university for a semester. I believe Persian is Indo-Aryan. Let me check. Hold on. Is Persian Indo-Aryan? No, it's Indo-Iranian. So maybe that doesn't answer your questions. Yes, Indo-Aryan, I believe, is only like the Indian languages on the Indian subcontinent. Indo-Aryan languages. So that would include, I would assume, like Hindi, Punjabi, Urdu, kind of those things. I am interested in them. There are a lot of actually Hindi Punjabi speakers in my neighborhood or in my city where I live in Canada. I just don't have the space right now in my language learning regimen to learn some, but Hindi has always kind of been on my list. I've always been interested in learning that language. I'd like to see a video about the Maltese language. Maybe we could get there one day. Yes, being Sicilian, I would love to watch a video about Maltese. Ilingua Maltia is a very interesting language. Is there any language you would learn but you lack resources? Um, I think it would be really cool as a Canadian to learn one of the languages that is indigenous to Canada, particularly to the region that I live in Canada. I think Cree is spoken here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's Algonquin. Maybe it's Iroquois, Ojibwe. I would like to learn one of those languages. I think it'd be really cool. It'd be a great way to connect to the country that I currently live in. But I'm not sure what the resources look like for those. I think they lack resources. I also think they lack speakers because some of them are undergoing language death, which is obviously very sad. But yeah, those would be the languages that I would say I would want to learn, but I'm not sure I have the resources for. If you got the chance to speak an endangered language fluently, would you? Yes, I would, without a doubt. I know some people think it's like a silly plan or like a silly thing to do, but I think learning endangered languages is really noble. I think it's really cool. I've never done it, so I'm not saying that I'm noble or cool. I'm just saying that I admire people who do, because it would be really awesome to help those languages, even if it's just by one person, help those languages survive in some shape or form for the future. Romanian sounds a lot like Russian, but it's not. That is a Romance language, while Russian is a Slavic language. I think Lithuanian sounds much more like Russian. Is Canadian French different from France French? And if there is any difference, what would that be? Same for Spanish. So France French is different from Quebec or Canadian French. There's some pronunciation differences. Like, for example, I can't think of any off the top of my head. In France, they would say mardi, and then in Quebec, they would say mardi. So there's more of like a tss sound on it. They have different words in Quebec than they do in France. I think stationnement for parking might be Quebecois, and then parking is France. Char for car is Quebecois, and then voiture is France. There's more accent things, I'm sure. Like instead of bien in Quebec, they say ben. Just things like that. I don't know. I haven't looked too much into the differences, but I can definitely tell when somebody's from Quebec. The same is for Spanish in other Spanish countries. Yeah, when I did the languages of, I think it was Mexico, languages of Spain, I'm not sure. I talked about different Spanish dialects, and all of South America has, vastly different versions of Spanish than European Spanish, and even different from each other. Opinion on Roticas. I'm not sure what that is. Is that a language? Is that a YouTuber? Sorry, I'm not too good about these opinion things. The most French I know is the chorus from the metal song "A tout le monde" by Megadeth. Cool. I've never heard that song. Ich schaue deine Videos schon etwas länger, aber wusste gar nicht, was du Deutsch kannst. Ja, ich kann ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen, aber ich möchte ein bisschen mehr Deutsch studieren. Mein Deutsch ist sehr schlecht. Ich habe I can't even construct that. Sorry, my brain's all like spaghetti right now. Ich finde, dass deutsche Grammatik sehr kompliziert ist, und ich spreche niemals Deutsch. Ich muss ein bisschen mehr Deutsch sprechen, sodass mein Deutsch verbessern kann werden. Sodass mein Deutsch verbessern kann. Yeah, it was a mess, but that's okay. I guess it's getting that across. I need to practice German more, which is evidenced by the fact that I just say German words and hope they make coherent thoughts. Yes, Quebecois be like, ouais, si tu veux. Yeah, it's true. Roticas is a language. Look it up. Yes, I don't know it. I've never heard of that language before. If you know French, then can you understand all French accents of various countries? I'm not sure if you can. I know if you know Standard French, I studied Standard French in university, you can understand Quebecois French fairly simply, but I don't know if that's true for the French spoken in Africa, if that's true for the French spoken in the Caribbean, if that's true for French Creoles, such as Haitian Creole. I don't have enough experience with those things, and I haven't researched it enough. Lernen is the normal word. Studieren is when you learn at a university. Yeah. So my German is not, well, I mean, I can get by, but it's not at the level I'd like it to be at. So I feel like I always say this, one day I will do better. I will make it better. I learned Standard French in high school, and it's so hard for me to understand Quebecois French. Yeah, I think it's an accent thing. I think it's also the speed. I think for me, French is spoken very quickly, irregardless of the accent, whether it's Quebecois or whether it's France. So if you're not used to the dialect, I think it can be really hard to pick up. What's an example of Russian exceptions? Cases, really. So for example, in Russian, if you want to create if you want to create the genitive case, there are certain endings, but then there are certain words that don't get those endings. So for example, sabaka, am I right? Sabaka meaning dog. If you wanted to put that in genitive case, the rule says that you should say sabaku. No, I'm getting this wrong. I'm getting this so wrong. Oh my God. Anyway, there are exceptions in the cases. I don't know of any super big examples right now, but I know that they are a pain in my side. How many years does it take to learn a language to become fluent in it? I don't know. I think it's different for every person. For me, to get to my level of French, I've been studying French for 20 years, and I'm still not what I would consider like native level fluency. I'm not at an amazingly high level. So I think some people learn quicker than others. Some people are more diligent than others. But yeah, it's different for everybody. Please learn Bengali. Yeah, that would be cool, I guess. I don't know. I have so many suggestions for languages. Right now, how many languages do you speak? I already answered that one. I speak 5. I'm learning 2. Which one is your favorite language and why? I used to say that I used to say that German was my favorite language to learn, but lately it's been Afrikaans, mostly because I was just in South Africa and I got to use the language. I don't know which one is my like all-time favorite. I think it comes and goes, but yeah, those are it's where I'm at. All right, let's just take a quick look and see if there are any other questions. I'm here on Twitter. I don't see any questions here. We will go to Facebook. I don't see any questions here, except my internet's not really loading. Yep. Instagram, I will look one last time. I will look. Wait. Nope, those are the 2. Okay. There was one final one from YouTube that somebody left me and then asked me and then I asked them if I could use it in the live stream. So I will answer that question now, and then it should be almost time to sign off soon. We've been at this for an hour. I probably should go do something productive with my day. Why? No, I'm not done. What happened? Okay. Yeah, I need to help mow the lawn soon, so I will let you all go in a second. Just give me 1 second. Okay, I'll be up in a second. Whoops. Community. The question was, where are the rest of your Russian vlogs, or did you give up on Russian? And this is from Gara011. And no, I didn't give up on Russian. Obviously, I think this has been evidence. And there is a video about Russian coming out soon. It's not the next video, but it's planned to be the video after that. So there will be more Russian vlogs. I haven't been super good at keeping up with those. And then there is one more here. Do you plan to get fluent in Afrikaans and explore the southern part of the African continent? Or do you just want to taste all the languages of the world? I think I want to get fluent in Afrikaans, and then there are other languages that I want to have a taste of. I want to learn as many languages as I can before I die. Not to the point that I'm fluent in all of them. I think that's too lofty of a goal, but just enough that I'm able to get by or read something simple. Okay. Thanks for giving your valuable time. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. People who are still here, people who popped in. This is great. I like doing these. Inerdad Baya Donkey Baya. What is your professional life? What do you do extra apart from language learning? I am a teacher. I am a writer. Yeah, those are the two main things. I write language learning content for language learning brands, and then I generally teach French. Those are the two things I do. All right. Oh, and then thanks again to ODDNJT, OddNJT. Thank you for watching. Thanks for being here. A new video will be out this week, so definitely check it out and watch it and leave a comment. And thanks for watching the live stream. Dankjewel, doi, das vidanya. Yeah, see y'all later. Oh, I should get the music lined up and dance. Oh my God. Hold on. Do we want to see a dance? Should we dance? Wait, honestly, I don't know about copyright. I'll just dance out. Goodbye. See you later. Bye. And